Sorry spiders. Hey guys, I had a message from one of my patients who watched my video about my favourite shoulder exercise, which is hanging from a pull-up bar, but two problems. One is she doesn't have a pull-up bar. Secondly, it seems a little bit too difficult for her, so she asked for a shoulder mobility routine which doesn't require any equipment and preferably she can do sitting down. And I thought that was a great idea. So here's the video and let's get into it. With any shoulder mobility routine, I always like to connect mindfully with my shoulders. So what we're going to do first is just simple shoulder rolls, one at a time. I'm trying to take my shoulder back, so up, back and down, up, back and down. I call this no arm backstroke. So imagine swimming backstroke through a swimming pool without raising your arms over your head. The reason connecting mindfully with shoulders is important is that shoulders can often tighten up with stress, and one of the things about stress is that we're not really aware that our shoulders just slowly creep up over towards our ears. So paying attention to what our shoulders feel like as they move, I always think is the first step in a shoulder mobility routine. So we can just be mindful, breathe, feel what our shoulders feel like as we roll them around our rib cage. After about 90 seconds or so, we can then take one arm across our body, real classic. This is called horizontal adduction, just opening up the backs of the shoulders. If you ever feel any pinching in the shoulders while doing this, you can just keep your arm a little bit lower, so take it more across the belly than the chest. You decide what feels best. And again, we're going to aim for about 45-second hold each side. And then if you feel comfortable, we're going to try and stretch the tricep, one of which also attaches to the shoulder blade. So what we're going to do, we're going to lift the elbow up overhead and then gently use the other hand to push the elbow higher so we can take the hand down the middle of our back behind us. To get an enhanced stretch, you can lean your spine away from the stretch. So as I have my left hand up overhead and down my back, I can lean to the right, and that's going to get this nice stretch through that tricep that attaches to the shoulder blade, but also through your lats and some of the outside shoulder blade muscles. To take both of those exercises a little bit further, I've stolen an exercise from yoga. Now I think this is called the eagle pose, which I have no idea why. What we're going to try and do is cross our arms and then get our palms facing each other. This is pretty intense. Now I can't get my palms, but I can just about get my fingers through, and this feels like a lovely stretch behind my shoulders and behind my shoulder blades. Here I like to do a little figure of 8 wriggle, which brings a nice upper back mobility as well. And depending on which way you have your hands, it puts slightly different stresses through your shoulders, so you need to do it both ways. And then finally, we're going to try and open up our chest and bicep muscle through opening up the fronts of the shoulders. Now, I'll show you a sitting version here where you just reach to the back of a chair. But if it feels too difficult to twist that far, then you can do a standing version instead. With the sitting version, what you're going to try and do is reach to the opposite side of the chair and then look away. So now that I've got my hand on this back side of the chair, I'm just going to look away, using my eyes and my head to drive motion away, opening up this chest here. Feels quite an intense stretch, and I'm just going to pulse by looking away into this end range position for the shoulder. The head driver really opens up the chest, and even feeling it in the tummy muscles. Like I say, this can be quite intense, so if it feels too much, the standing version can be a little bit easier. For an added bonus, if you're able to kneel down on the floor, what you can do is kneel in front of your chair and use the chair to take your shoulders into flexion, which is where we try and drop our sternum down through our arms and get this nice stretch where our biceps come up to our ears. I like to wriggle side to side and do little pulses, dropping my chest through. The more intense version of this is to not have your hands on the chair, but have your elbows on the chair and your hands facing up to the sky. Just a bit more intense, gets that lovely tricep stretch, and you can really feel your shoulder blades gliding around your rib cage on this one. In fact, I like to do little contractions of my shoulder blade muscles squeezing the shoulder blades down my spine. And a minute or so of that helps the shoulders feel free overhead. Okay guys, so I hope that helped. If you found it helpful, give it a little thumbs up below. As I said earlier, the more intense version of all of this, and my favourite exercise for the shoulders, is to hang from a pull-up bar, so I'll link that video up here if you haven't seen it. And until next time, have a healthy and happy week.